One of the most important things you can understand in the world of fitness is that you really can't score points and rack up W's when you're playing defense. What I mean is, unlike in football, where let's say you can get an interception or a scoop and score and run it back for a touchdown, in the world of fitness, you pretty much always have to be on offense in order to make progress. And what I mean is, I run into this all the time when we're talking about like setting goals or taking the action that you need to get to where you want to go. A lot of people view this from an entirely defensive point of view, meaning they just think, well, I'm going to try quitting this, or I'm going to try stopping this or doing whatever. And it's always viewed in that like defensive point of view, if you get what I'm saying, right? So they're going to think, I'm going to restrict my life in a certain way, or I'm going to make this sacrifice, which ultimately needs to be done. But when it's mentally framed like that, it just becomes really unbearable. It becomes something where you just end up torturing yourself for a couple of weeks or maybe a month. You step away from it and say, oh, I couldn't really hold on to it, or, you know, it's not really for me, it's just too hardcore. You know, there's some rationalization that inevitably gets brought up, but the result is always the same, of course, which is, you know, bear with me as I cross the street here. It's always the same, you just don't make progress. But if you're on the offensive, right, you have the ball, you're moving downfield, it's a lot different. You could be doing the exact same thing, but it's much easier to sustain it mentally, because when you start to see progress when you're on offense, it becomes a lot more addictive. You really like to do it. What I mean is, let's say, we'll take the same thing here. You decide to eat in a caloric deficit. Some people could view that as, I'm eating less food, I'm making a restriction. Or another person says, I'm going to step into this, I'm going to use this diet as kind of fuel for the fire, and I'm going to get excited about it. It's the same thing, but there's entirely different ways of looking at it. And really, that's going to be what determines whether it works or not. So when you're on offense, shit's going to get real. But if you're playing defense with everything, and everything you try to do in fitness is just constantly defensive, it's going to suck.